Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do something in a podcast form and discuss some topics that have caught my eye in the last week. First, I want to talk about the terrible and sad passing of Daveigh Chase. She was a child actress that appeared in numerous projects in the early 2000s, which included Donnie Darko. She voiced the character of Lilo in Lilo and Stitch, and Samara in the horror film The Ring. For me, I knew her mostly from The Ring. I love that film. I saw it in the theaters in 2002, and it was an amazing experience. In fact, it was actually the first horror film that I saw at the movies. I was only 10 years old, but I just thought it was so good. And obviously you get to learn more about the story, the plot, and the character of Samara, played by Daveigh. And I just thought she was so amazing as this villainous killing character. And it's not like Daveigh Chase was Dakota Fanning, but she was well known. It was around a decade ago that I came across her socials, and it was my first time seeing her like all grown up, and I was just stunned by how beautiful she was, how lively she looked. She has these piercing blue eyes that really stand out. But yeah, like all these articles that have popped up, I've seen photos of her. I remember specifically running into her socials and being surprised by her and wondering what happened. She looked so well, and then it was nothing after that until 2026. Apparently, Daveigh died from a blood infection. She had been MIA for around a decade. No one knows why. Her family and her manager had been trying to find her for around 10 years now. Basically, through accounts from her mom, dad, the manager, she was hooked on drugs. Manager John said that he tried to find her, to the point that he almost made a documentary called Finding Lilo and was set out to pitch it to studios. Meanwhile, the public has no idea this person has gone off. You know, one thing I learned about Daveigh's early success is that she was also in the HBO show Big Love. She was there for around 5 years. So she was there as a young teenager going into a young woman, and I didn't even know she was on Big Love, but I know that was a quite popular show from HBO back when HBO was legit OG, when you saw appointment TV on Sundays for The Sopranos, 6 Feet Under, Deadwood, not The White Lotus or, freaking Euphoria. Like, that was legit appointment TV, and Big Love was a part of it. And for her to be involved in project like that is so amazing, and that's why you wonder what happened. Well, this isn't the first time we've seen this with a child actor. I don't know the psychology behind it, but obviously, yeah, fame looks fun and cool. Yeah, she appeared in these hit films, but you're making money as a child. That's not exactly the norm for us kids, but that's got to affect you in some way. You don't go to traditional school like the rest of us. You're making income. And in fact, Daveigh's manager said that there was millions of dollars in unchecked residuals from Disney. Something is seriously wrong when you have this successful, brilliant young actress go to nothing, because apparently she was living in Skid Row. John, the manager, was trying to find her, and he almost did last year, but she was tipped off and walked away. There's this very sad, weird, disturbing image, allegedly, of Daveigh in Skid Row looking like a shell of herself, and you would never even know that was that young girl. And there were these photos posted by her so-called boyfriend that her manager dismisses, but I'm pretty sure that was her boyfriend because there are pictures of them together, and she looks unrecognizable. I would not know that was Daveigh. I hate to bring this up. There was this awesome, happy memory of her you've seen where she won Best Villain at the MTV Movie Awards in 2003 with all this Diddy shit in the last few years. You know, this clip has resurfaced of Diddy and Ashton Kutcher, you know, presenting the award and then saying something like, you should be invited to an after party. And knowing all these allegations against him, it's just disturbing. I hope nothing happened, but this is Hollywood after all. And the other day I saw an image of Daveigh, same year, 13, photographed with Tracy Morgan. Now, I don't know the context of it, but what are you doing with him? As I said, her parents were interviewed, and allegedly Daveigh had a falling out with her mom at 19. Her dad said that Daveigh started using drugs at 13, which is around the time of her success with all these films. How do you correlate that and then her looking so vibrant on Instagram, having this vibrant social life, many friends, she looks live, and then literally disappearing somewhere in her mid-20s, living in Skid Row with a man that no one, her family knows, looking unrecognizable. There are a lot of questions. I own The Ring on DVD. I rewatched the film 2 years ago at home, but given the news, I just put it on the other day. And it's so well made. I already have known that, but when you watch it after the fact and watching the scenes of Samara and Naomi Watts, I teared up. You already know that the ID channel is going to make an episode on Daveigh Chase. Speaking of horror, last week I saw 2 films back to back, Obsession and Backrooms. Monday was Obsession at AMC, and then Tuesday was Backrooms at Regal. Now, these films are getting a lot of attention because they've made a lot of money in the box office. They're setting records. Both films are directed by young men. One of them, literally a recent high school graduate, and the other, a YouTuber who made this film that was popular on his channel called Milk and Cereal, got a lot of attention. Same for Kane, the director of Backrooms, because he put on his YouTube the Backrooms, like it's all originated on his channel, and it got the attention of A24. Both films are very different. Obsession has to do with this young couple. I don't want to give spoilers, but Nikki is the one that is love obsessed. And while I enjoy the violence, the crazy, the strong performances from Nikki and Bear, it isn't exactly the most frightening thing I've seen, but you have had to see a lot of horror to not be, shaking in the movie theater. And I know that is a common experience for many audiences, but I was literally sitting by myself with a row to myself. I was just unbothered. Like, I've seen worse. I've been reading, watching true crime all my life. It didn't really bother me. But that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. In fact, I want to rewatch it. I hear that there's an unrated version, and I would love to see it. But I'm going to stand by my comments, because I've been startled by worse, you know? And then Backrooms, I just knew nothing about it. Besides, this has to do with a furniture store and what is behind it. It stars Chiwetel Ejiofor. He's a furniture salesman. It takes place in 1990, which I love. I didn't know that. Love nostalgia factor as a 90s baby. He's this struggling salesman making these kind of sad commercials to bring business to his store, but nobody goes. And eventually he finds out the Backrooms. And I just think it's more cerebral than Obsession, and it's actually more frightening than Obsession. This is a man that is dealing with the dormancy of his life. He's been divorced. He doesn't know how to change. He wants to be an architect, but he's used to being that discomfort, and that is very relatable to everyday people. Spoilers, but eventually he stays in the back rooms, the entities that live within. he kind of like accepts them as family because he has no one. So these avatars, these Sims, they serve as a place for him, but obviously he's not in a well state of mind. It's the fact that people stay in the same loops and patterns and don't want to change and sit with the discomfort. That's what's frightening. Overall, I thought it was great acting, great cast. I love the cinematography, the production of the Backrooms. With all this attention of horror at the movies, like, I have to say, this year has been the year I've been at the theaters the most amount of times in a long time. I've seen 6 films. 3 of them were Tom Cruise, Jerry Maguire, Top Gun Maverick, and then the other 3 happened to be horror films. First one was Ready or Not 2, Obsession, and then Backrooms. So that just tells you something. Something's in the water. Maybe there's hope for Hollywood, because they're making all these dumb reboots, regurgitations. Supergirl. I see how heavy they're like pushing Supergirl on TikTok with the ads. Hollywood has to get a grip, especially after the release of Disclosure Day, which I knew was gonna... It didn't financially tank because Steven Spielberg directed it. A lot of people online have said it's just not a good film, but I'm not surprised. Like, the trailer just doesn't look appealing. There was nothing in that trailer, so I don't know what people thought or assumed they were going to take out of actually seeing the whole film in its entirety. There should be a competition like Top Chef, Top Director, where you have an assignment to make a project on a low budget. Because proof of Backrooms and Obsession, you can make a quality film without, a super budget. I have to mention Tom Cruise because the other day he set up a special screening of Disclosure Day. It was fun because there was a reunion with Dakota Fanning from War of the Worlds and Colin Farrell from Minority Report, and I posted about it. It got a lot of engagements. I don't know how Tom Cruise and all those other actors sat through that. Speaking of Tom, that day his itinerary was full. Because right after, he went to the Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony for David Beckham. I thought it was lovely. He gave a speech. He was just in support for David and his family. And then right after, he attended a World Cup game with David. And of course, people saw them, took pictures, asked for autographs. Just another day in the life of Tom Cruise. That's all on my take on those topics. Thank you for listening.